Welcome to the latest edition of the Google for Business podcast with me, Martin Shervington. In this episode, I have a chat with Emeric Ernoult. See, that was me doing my French accent really well there because it's got a T on the end, and that's probably the only bit of French pronunciation that I learned. Anyway, this session talking SEO, talking social, talking relationships, and how he's done so well with his business, agorapulse.com. Check it out. Welcome, Emeric, and I'm gonna say it's surname right, Ernoult. Ernoult. See, I didn't use the T. That's like 3 years of studying French as a kid, and I knew not to put the T on the end. I feel it's all come together. Yeah, you are CEO of Agora Pulse.
I am.
You are.
Yes.
Tell us about Agora Pulse. What does it do?
Number one, first thing, CEO is kind of a fancy title for a 15-person company. I like to call myself a co-founder because we are two founders, and being a founding person for me is more meaningful than being a CEO. But that's just for
I'm sure language. I saw it somewhere that you were CEO, and I was impressed.
You got to call yourself titles because people are used to that. Agora Pulse is a social media management tool. So most people are very well aware of big guys like Hootsuite, and basically that's the same kind of service that we're offering, just in a very different manner. But that's our industry.
That's great, and we can chat a little bit more about it. But what we connected in part because I wrote some articles, I think last year.
Absolutely.
For you, and you really understand what you're doing for content marketing, driving people to the site, building a community around it, connecting with people, and you understand Google well. So you start strategically with knowing why you want more visitors, but you understand how to get them there as well. Is that reasonable?
Yeah, I would call myself a student in that area, probably an eternal student, because I think there is always something you can learn about how Google works and how Google can help your business, and especially on the traffic side of things. And I keep learning, and I keep knowing more things year after year. So it's a good news that the learning experience is working. Yeah. And obviously we're not doing the things we're doing today the same way we were doing them a year ago or 2 years ago. I mean, we stopped doing things that we discovered are not working, and we start doing things differently and tweaking the way we do things as well. And when you look at content and SEO and organic traffic, which is probably the blood of every business, that's my opinion at least. You got to be strategic. You gotta spend time on analyzing what you're doing, on measuring what you're doing, on tweaking, optimizing, fine-tuning what you're doing. It's a constant optimization process, and it's something you can't just set and forget. It is not it is not a bunch of tweets you're putting in Hootsuite Buffer or Agora Pulse and let them shoot and forget about them. It doesn't work that way. It is something you have to constantly reevaluate, remeasure, refine tune, and it takes energy and time. You got to invest yourself in that.
Well, let's take a step back. You said something very interesting about how businesses can use Google, and I'd just like to unpack that and say, what does that mean for you right now?
Well, number one, Google is a lot of things, right? It is the search engine and the organic traffic it will send you if you rank well for searches that are relevant for your business. It is Google Analytics, of course. It is the paid channels such as AdWords. It is retargeting. It is now you can even upload your emails and retarget your customers like you do on Facebook. So it is a ton of things. Google is like an ecosystem more than just one thing. My take is that I think the very first source of business for most online businesses is organic traffic. And I think that's the number one. I would, I would challenge anyone to tell me that their number one source of traffic is Facebook or Twitter or something else.
It's
They are,
interesting. Let me just tell you, I haven't spoken to a lot of businesses. You'd be surprised. You're a very savvy marketer. A lot of people aren't able to get the search results. A lot of people aren't doing content marketing. And I don't mean in the sort of content marketing, social media space. I'm talking about people have to pay for the traffic off the bat. You
yeah.
know, it's that they're not blogging, they're not doing the things that you're doing. I think that you not only are you producing really good content or getting good writers, of course, but not only are you doing that, but you understand the mechanisms to get it into search and to build the social community. I think that you're quite an unusual beast. I think you're doing it well. You're not only are you getting people there to the site and getting the search results longer term, which are two different things, but also you're converting them. You're getting them to, I mean, this is where I wanted to come on to, because I think this is what people need to understand is you're actually doing business with all that traffic as well. You're taking them, I don't know whether it's into a trial or straight into a paid plan, but it's working.
Yeah, it could be too many things, and we're always testing where we're taking those people. Sometimes taking them to a free trial, right? We don't take people right to a paid plan because we have a free trial with our tool. So in any event, they will always start with a free trial. But sometimes taking them to the free trial right up front is not the best thing to do. Sometimes it is better to take them to a free tool or another free resource that will help them at that point. And that's where things become a little bit difficult. Is blog post per blog post, you have to decide, okay, what is the right next step for that piece of content, so the right next step is obvious for them and is fluid. Because if you write a blog post about something that is, let's say you write, let me take a very precise example. So, for example, our tool does one thing that very few tools, if any, do on the market, which is allowing you to monitor people commenting your Facebook ads in the newsfeed, also called unpublished posts. And we provide a very unique solution for that, and no other tools I know of is providing that. So we wrote a blog post about that, how to monitor dark post comments on your dark post, unpublished posts, Facebook ads, whatever you name them. And we started by explaining how you can do it on Facebook, and basically the point was to show how burdensome it was.
Yeah.
And then say this, there are other solutions. There are free solutions. There are paid solutions. The free solution will work if you only have a couple of ads, but if you have like dozens or worse, hundreds of ads, then you need a paid solution. This is the one we offer. This is how it works. Or it's a video demo. So the whole thing was so well. Was attracting exactly the kind of people who would like to convert right away because, oh my God, I need this. This is the kind of feature I've been looking for. So for them, offering a free trial off the bat is the right thing to do. But for some other posts that we wrote, like, for example, we wrote a post about how to get more followers on Instagram. And I think we have a Spanish version of that post that gets 40,000 visitors per month on that one post itself. Yes, it wowed me as well. And then I think the English version gets 20,000 and the French version gets 6,000. So overall, we're above 65,000 visitors per month on the topic of getting more followers on Instagram. And most of the people who want to get more followers on Instagram, if you say, hey, free trial, do this, do that, it's likely that most of them will say, no, I'm not ready for that. I'm trying to grow my account. I'm still at the early stage of my Instagram account. So trying to shove the free trial into their guts like too hard is probably not going to pay off. It's too soon. So if it's top of the funnel, then those guys, you probably want to give them a link to another blog post that will give them an additional level of knowledge about Instagram and what they can do on Instagram. So now that you're considering growing your Instagram following, then just know what you could be doing once you have a bigger following. You could upsell, you could create awareness, you could engage, and this is how these other blog posts may help you. You could send them a short ebook or about the 10 things that Instagram can do for your business. Or you can take them to an additional step into knowing more about you, connecting with you, creating that bond with them, and for some other posts, directing them to a free tool is sometimes preferable as well. So if we have blog posts about Facebook uh, insights and statistics. And for some of, and we have a free tool that's pretty helpful and people like that compare your Facebook page against the average Facebook page out there in the competition. Um, Giving them access to that free tool is probably going to be the next logical, the best logical next step. So long story short, it depends.
Yeah, but how do you get people's email address? Do you use pop-ups? So you got a sort of static request at the bottom. What tools are you using to capture, if that's the important thing?
Yeah, no, we're not capturing email
No.
address right now on the blog post. So we on the blog we capture email address and user profile when they try our free tools,
Right.
and then we try to let them know about the paid tools we have. But we do not have any good system to create mailing list or prospect list on the website, and that's one of the things we'd like to work on and improve. But the thing is, because we're getting, I think we're getting somehow 3,500 free trials per month, and we're getting around 3,000 leads installing of free tools. So that's 6,500 people every month. And to be honest with you, we've not even yet doing the job I think we should be doing with those 6,000 people who are using our free trial or using our free tools. So we've been focusing on
Let
that.
me dive in. Let me dive in because this isn't really because you're giving some figures here, so for people to understand. So you're getting the outcome of what you want, which is sign up for the free trial and of something, and the next step obviously is to convert a certain amount of those into paid
Yeah.
members, or not members, or paid users. Now that what you've just said, instead of looking at trying to get more free trials or trying to get more email addresses that could in time get you free trials, you're looking at optimizing that existing number. I guess
Yeah.
is it of the 6,500, you want more of those to convert into to set. That's your priority. Is that my
Yeah, I
interpretation?
want I
Yeah,
want more of the free trials to stick around and
yeah,
convert to paid clients, and I
yeah,
want more of the free tools to know about the paid tool and try it out. So
yeah.
that's what I'm focusing on. And I don't know if I mentioned that, but we're a small 15 people team, and 15 people among which I have 5 developers. So it's only 10 people for support, marketing, and customer success, and we are operating in 4 different languages. So it's there are a lot of things to do, and we can only do one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Especially, we can only do one thing at a time, right?
So
So
what?
the
Yeah.
the lead gen is not the one thing
No, no,
we've
no. That's the thing. So, in terms of you and your organisation side, what products are you using to keep track of all of those different people? I think Basecamp you use, don't you?
We use Basecamp.
Yeah.
We use Slack a lot
Yep.
as the internal chat room for the company. And we use as few emails as possible. I hate emails,
Yeah.
especially for a remote team like that. We use Hangout a lot and Hangout is built almost built into Slack, so it's very easy to start a Hangout chat from Slack directly. So we do that all the time. Every time a chat, written chat is becoming too like, oh God, we've been typing for too long. Then we
Yeah. Yeah.
type
Yeah.
/Hangout and we start chatting. And we use a tool called Week Done to have everybody filled in what they've done this week. So even if we've not had a chat this week, which happens, we at least at the end of the week, anybody can go into Week Done and see what the other guys have done. So we have an idea of how the other team members are going and what they're doing. And I'm constantly trying new things to make the remote work more efficient. So I recently tested Dapples, which is a project management for startup, DAPULSE, and I've also tried Hubstaff, which is something to track your virtual assistant when you're working with virtual assistant in the Philippines or in India. So I mean, there is an endless list of tools, but each tool needs to fit into your process and your workflow, and it takes time to adapt
Yeah. Yeah.
yourself and your team to using those tools correctly. The one thing that makes a remote team efficient is having the right people.
Yeah.
Having people who can work independently, who can work on their own, who understand fast, who are independent and don't need to have directions every day. So that's the key.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I've had a personal assistant now, a virtual assistant for 2 years, and she's absolutely amazing. She's totally independent, and I use a mix of. It's interesting, communities, Google Plus communities for task management stuff, and it's just a case of having them on the thread, much better than email. But I don't use Hangouts, and the reason I don't use Hangouts with her is I don't want to nag her. I don't want her to feel time pressured, and it's interesting to see how in the past when I've run virtual teams, I was using MSN Messenger back in the day,
Yeah.
because I could see people if they were logging in, and I had all of this stuff, and it's interesting to see how I've moved on. And what you're saying about it's down to the people. To a large extent, and it's down to you and the trust and just assuming it's probably that in all truthfulness, because the tasks either get done or they don't, and you find out
Yeah.
very quickly. You got the feedback loops, but I think the point they make is you've got to get used to some tools, and not everybody is wanting to jump from tool to tool to tool. So in a way, once you've settled, it's easier to find tools and stick to them.
No, totally. Yeah, yeah.
You know? But you're evolving, you're continuing. And what do you think? Let's go back to search a little bit in terms of sort of stability, in terms of you pushing on. Is content marketing still the thing that it was for you a year ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, we've grown our content marketing efforts a lot. Content marketing 3 years ago was me. I
Yeah.
was content marketing for the company. I was writing all the posts. I was doing everything and the promotion and all that stuff. And over the years, thank God, the business has grown little by little, and the revenue have grown as well. And we've been able to expand the team. And right now, I think we have 12 or 13 writers. It may sound like a lot, but the reason why we have so many of them is because I only work with writers who are also practitioners, who are actually doing social media. And because they are practitioners, they have their own business, they have their own agency, they have their own practice. And so because of that, they can't write for you full time or even, half time. So they will write when they have time to write, and when they have the right inspiration and all that stuff, which is why our blog posts are probably above average, because they are written by people who are actually doing the work. But this is also a challenge, because you can't tell them, okay, you're going to write a blog post for me every Wednesday, because it's not going to work.
Yeah, yeah.
Because one Wednesday out of two, they'll have client work that will prevent them from getting the blog post out. So we have a lot of them, so we can fill the content calendar regularly without requiring people to write on a specific schedule.
Do you think that authority is important when you're choosing those writers?
The ability to write well, in good English and in a very easy to read manner is very important. We have editorial guidelines, basically to make it simple. I could summarize it in the following words, which is no fluff.
Yeah, yeah,
There's so much fluffy content, out there. It is a shame, and we basically want things that are based on experience, based on business cases, based on some things they've tried, successes they've had, failures they've had, things they've seen on others that are relevant and insightful. So we want real things. So we want
yeah.
screenshots, we want examples, we want names, that takes time, and it's not something you just, hey, I'm gonna write a blog post today. I'm gonna mention oh gosh, I don't know 5 brands who are doing Instagram right. So how am I going to find that out? So
Yeah.
you got to be practicing and seeing those things and writing them down, and suddenly after a while the blog post comes together. But it's not the kind of content you write when you have 2 hours ahead of you. It's the kind of content you have to build over time. That's why it's so difficult. So that's why I need those kind of writers who are in the field actually doing it.
Yeah, let's talk about a little bit further on that. Just a philosophical thing. I mean, you pay writers, don't
Yeah,
you?
I do.
I mean, what do you get approached to have people guest blog? What do you think about that as a whole sort of
Nine
view?
people approaching me to guest blog on our blog.
Yeah,
Yeah, 90% of them is crap.
Yeah, and that's really the thing, is that you're choosing the best, not just to create the content. It's that you want really good content because it's a trust thing.
Yeah.
You're taking people's attention, isn't it? That's the whole point. Is that if you've got somebody's attention, you've got to deliver on it.
Absolutely, and you know, so we talked about conversion earlier. Conversions are one way to look at blogging and content marketing, but it's definitely not the main way. Now that we're getting at a decent amount of traffic, I think the traffic on the blog is probably around 150,000 unique per month. So now it's significant enough for us to try to look at how we can improve conversion and how we
Yeah,
can move from 0.x% to 0.y% and get more out of that. But when you start out, the conversion on the blog is going to be ridiculous. I mean, you're going to have like 3 conversions last month. Why am I blogging?
yeah, yeah.
But the point is, you're not only blogging to get conversion, you're blogging to get people enjoying reading your content. You're blogging to get your clients come back to your blog once in a while and say, oh, this guy's not only have a interesting tool I'm using, they also write interesting content I enjoy reading. You're blogging because when you reach out to influencers, you can actually send them a piece of content that's relevant, that they will read and say, huh, these guys have a pretty good content. They write interesting stuff. I didn't know about that. So these are all the reasons why you're blogging, and I know you're also blogging to position yourself with Google. I'm sure most of your listeners have used or are using Google Webmaster Tool. And if you check in Google Webmaster Tool, you can see in one of those menu what Google sees you and what Google thinks you're relevant for. And you see a bunch of keywords there, and those keywords tell you Google think you're good at this. Google think you're a relevant website for that. And if you only have a corporate website, it is very high to change that. And if you're looking at those keywords and noticing that Google is not thinking you are relevant for a keyword that is important for you, blogging is the only way you're going to be able to move the needle and change that. So that was the case for us. We were only known as a relevant website domain for Facebook and contest and promotion for a long time, and this is something that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was something I wanted to change, and so we used our blogging strategy and our blogging content to move the needle on that. And right now, it's not, we're still very good, very high, and very highly relevant for Facebook. But now we see as relevant terms that we didn't have 2 years ago. We started to see Twitter, we started to see social media management. So we start to see those other keywords that we wanted to be known for in the eyes of Google, and blogging was the only way we had at the reach of our hands to achieve that.
And that's the thing, is when you're talking about the eyes of Google, it's the eyes of the people that are then looking at looking in search for something, as well as in social. It's your brand, isn't it? You're increasing people's view, the breadth of what you're doing, and blogging's a tool to do that. Now, I just wanted to come back to something which you said, when you reach out to influencers. Could you tell me a little bit more? How do you connect? What actually, I know. See, we know each other, so I know that you're a very friendly, relational guy, and you go to a lot of conferences, and you make the effort to go and meet people, and that's how you connect with people. But what's all that about for you?
Well, influencers. Leveraging influencers to help your business is probably the most long-term and hardest thing to do. People think that influencer marketing is buying a piece of software at $99 a month, scrapping the web and finding their email in a way or another, or their Twitter account, and then start blasting them with what you have to sell. This is the recipe for failure and waste of time. People who are influential are already overwhelmed by requests from people to, can you share this? Can you tweet that? Can you backlinks to that? And so on and so forth. So they obviously will not respond to a random person reaching out to them without any pre-existing relationship, with a message that looks like it's been blasting to 100 other people at the same time. So it's all about making your message different by basically 2 different means. The number one is having a pre-existing relationship. which is the strongest of the means you can use to get their attention, but also the most expensive to get, because, like you said, I traveled a lot. I went to conferences, so I paid for hotels, I paid for flight, I paid for conference tickets. So you're talking thousands of dollars or of investment over the years. But it is the best. That's definitely the best way. The second best way, which is not as good but still better than blasting the same message to everybody and not personalizing anything, is, and especially it's also the scalable way, because going to conferences and meeting people in real life does not really scale. It's to really try to learn as much as you can about someone or some company or some agency, depending on who you're targeting to. Try to learn that by going on their website and reading as much content as possible and learning about them as much as possible, checking their LinkedIn profiles, checking their Twitter account, spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour to really learn about them. And when the time comes to send them an email, use all that information that you've gathered about them to make a very, very personalized message. So when they read the email, it doesn't look like it is something you've also sent to 100 other people. It is something you've spent 2 hours just for them.
And you've got to care. You've actually got to care and want to connect and want to relate. Now, I can tell you've got what we call in the UK tea time in the background, because I can hear your wife and you've got the kids. And thanks for making the time on a Friday afternoon. Emeric, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Ernoult, Ernoult. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me, and you can find me on my website. If you send a message to my website, to my contact form, and say "attention to Emeric," it will be redirected to me. So I'm very easy to get a hold of.
And that's agorapulse.com.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Emeric. Take care. Wish you well, and wish you all the best with it. Not just well. I think it's fantastic. It's great to watch. And see you soon.
See you soon. Thanks, Martin, for having me.
This is Martin Shervington. Thank you for listening to the Google for Business podcast. See you next time.